This is Factory Fridays from boats.com, the show where we visit builders across America to get a first-hand look at their boat building techniques, materials, and stories.
Hi, I'm Marilyn DeMartini with boats.com. And today, Factory Fridays brings us to Edgewater, Florida, to visit Everglades Boats. And we're going to go see what makes Everglades a bit different in the fishing center console market. And there's a hint of that here as we see part of their mission statement included at their entrance to design and engineering. So come join us and we'll see the Everglades difference.
Marilyn, welcome to Everglades Boats. Good seeing you.
Good to see you, Stan.
Yeah.
Great to be here. It's been a while.
Sure has.
I think the last time we were on a sea trial of the 455 down in Fort Lauderdale.
When we introduced it last,
So that was great. So now it'll be interesting to see how they're built here in
Let's
person.
go. You have a little scale model behind us. But,
I see that.
We're going to show you the real thing today.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, you're going to tell us what sets Everglades apart from the rest of the market.
Well, in my opinion, it starts at the core, and it starts with what we would call the culture pyramid, right? You have to build and you have to come to work for some reason and why, and it goes through many, many different elements, not alone the design and the build, and why do we do it? To create a life customer experience, right? And the same with an employee. You want a good life-work balance, and you want it to be fun. That's the last, but it's not priority. So we're going to touch a little bit about innovation here right now, and we're going to show you a scale model of the ram cap and kind of what makes Everglades Everglades.
Let's see that. So this is like a jigsaw puzzle of how it all comes together.
You got it right. So as your many Factory Fridays show, that there's many ways that you can build a boat, many different processes and whatnot. The unique part about Everglades is the ram cap process. To my knowledge, nobody in the industry does this, nobody. And we're going to show you why, and the result is who we are, the DNA of the ride. And this is what makes the ride. As you can clearly see in this model, in which we'll go out to lamination in a minute, that the core or the base part of the boat is the base part of the boat. If you were going to do vacuum form, you're going to do resin infuse, you're going to do different ways, all okay. But the ram cap process is going to show you specifically the core and what makes all these three pieces one, which, to my knowledge, in the industry, nobody does. So more to come. We'll show you the scale too, out there in lamination.
Okay, let's go.
Well, Marilyn, this is the lab. This is the quality lab in lamination. So it defines quality assurance versus quality control. Big difference, right? This is all quality assurance. So we'll first start off with some of the things that we do here. We do all of our incoming resins and all of our incoming gel coats are tested to the recipe that we give our vendors. Some of the recipes are up in here. As you can clearly see, some of them failed. So just think the catastrophic issue that would have been if we built the boat, the consumer had it, and then through time. So we do fail, and that tells me that we're doing the right thing. So we are assuring that this quart sample that comes in, say with resin with 80,000 pounds, the truck driver stays there till I okay it, and then we dump it. So,
Gotcha.
Okay.
So you avoid any problems by addressing
Correct.
it in the beginning.
Right. We want to give the technicians on the floor the best quality product that we can find, based off of what we're going to show here in a minute, which is really our quality gates. And our quality gates go throughout the whole process. It starts at the start, which is in lamination. And in this example, this is a 455, 21 pages of this is yes or no. It's pretty simple. It's not gray. Does it meet the criteria or not? And the good part about this is the accountability side, which we talked about in the culture pyramid, is you have to sign. Years past, it was the quality control people signed. No, you're going to sign, and then the quality people will come back and make sure you did it right. That's assurance.
Double
right?
check.
Right.
So from here, where do we go next?
Next, we're going to go out and see, actually, does this ram cap philosophy work? Right?
All right.
Okay, cool. So Marilyn, we talked a little bit about ram cap and really what it is, and this example is really to scale a boat that we had. So we wanted to see, does it actually work, right? And if you look at the geometry of all the design from the hull, the foam, and now the liner, it looks like it's perfect. There's no voids, and we just cut this right in half just to show that. We apply right here vacuum. It's a vacuum ports that will go down, and it pulls the hull and the foam and the liner together to form the ram cap one piece.
Gotcha.
And that's what gives you the ride.
So that's the stability and the strength of the
Right.
whole construction.
There's no giving anywhere. It's a solid piece now. So
Now from this transom example, we've seen how the three pieces come together in your video, and this impacts the ride to make the whole boat so stable that it cuts through any kind
correct.
of
All of
sea.
the shock absorption is now distributed through the hull, through the displacement of the boat. So you can go into any Everglades and go into the rear storage or the bow storage. It's solid all the way. All the way. It's built identical. And even though it's just going to hold a life jacket, it's just as strong as that.
Well, let's go see how this all comes together.
Let's go.
So this is where we prep for the ram cap construction.
That's correct. Unfortunately, Marilyn, I don't have a boat that I can show you with actually applying the foam in. So, but anyways, so what we're doing here, this is a 335 hull. So we're going to grind all the laminate so we can bond it. So the next step would be put those foam logs in the core, and then we're going to set one of the liners, which is over here, which is going to be ground also. And then we're going to apply it, vacuum, and then make that ram cap magic happen. So this boat will probably be done by this time tomorrow. Be out the door.
All right. And so where does it go from here?
It'll go to trim and grind.
Let's head there next.
Sounds good. So Marilyn, this is an example. This is a 253. We're in trim and grind. So a couple things I would like to point out. One, after post ram cap, you can see how clean the thickness of this transom, the thickness of all of the core materials is now complete. One of the other features that we have is you can see that the liner itself is prepped, and what's it prepped for? It's prepped for when we set the deck. So now we have the hull, we've got the core, we've got the liner, and now we're going to bond the deck to the hull.
So we have one more piece coming in to pull this all together.
We're stacking it all up, and we're going to bond them all together chemically.
And then we go to finishing?
You got it.
All right, let's go see what happens
Awesome.
there.
Marilyn, I want to show you probably three features that this deck has by just standing here. Number one, just like we looked at the hull and lamination, they scored this fiberglass because why? We're going to bond it to that liner now.
The better adhesion.
You got it. Two, this is behind the scene. This is behind the wall, behind the speaker, behind the storage area, and we smooth gel coat that. Number two. Number three, the most important that I feel is we score this deck. So you've got a shoebox hull seam. We break the gel coat off. Why? In case you had an impact situation, very rarely you'll see any stress on an Everglades deck. And we do that on every boat.
So if you have an impact here, the stress stops at that groove.
You just eliminated
and doesn't go through the rest of the boat.
You'll look like an expert boat driver.
Behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes.
Where to next?
Let's go to weld shop.
Those are some beautiful welds.
I know. You know the sad part? You'll never see it. That's some of the things. If you order a $395, you get this transom plate included. So look at the robust, look at the intricate, the attention to detail, design profile. This is what's going to reinforce your transom. In this case, the $395.
And for what kind of power is that going to
Right now, it would be 425 horsepower Yamahas.
And so you do this all in-house, so you don't have to outsource
all in-house.
it.
Yep. Anything that is rather aluminum or powder coated, we do in-house other than the actual powder coat. But if it was a polished stainless rail, we usually just farm that out if it's a little handrail. But anything, including hard tops, which I'll show you here in a minute, what else we do to make Everglades Everglades.
All right. I see all the rod holders over there.
So Marilyn, I want to show you just a couple of things that we do here. Again, some of it's behind the scenes as we talked about, and some that you actually see. We want to show that off. I'll give you an example. Do you have an idea what this is?
I don't know, but it sure looks heavy duty.
It should be. It's a battery tray, right? Yeah. So we are ABYC and MMA certified. So battery has to take a certain amount of pressure, but look at the detail. That is probably something, again, that you're not going to see. You're not going to show your friends. But at the end of the day, you've got a very safe product, and your batteries surely aren't going anywhere, right? I mean, look at the rod holders. We do this by hand, okay? All welded, just like the transom plate that we looked at. It looks like the transom plate. And then lastly, I don't think many manufacturers have that, a ski tow eye on your hardtop. That tells me we trust in the strength of that top.
And just in case you want to water sports and you want to be fishing.
Yep. So that's what starts to separate us now. Behind the scene and in front of the scene of a nice feature, you don't have to have a pole. It's above your head, and you can have the children and have everybody tubing and whatnot. Fun day. And
it's sturdy.
It's not going anywhere. So.
All right. So where do we go from here?
Let's go to assembly. So Marilyn, we're up here now. We're in the assembly building. So we've watched decks being built, we watched hull being built, and in this particular example, now the deck is set. There's back to that score line we talked about. But it's very important for us because this is a imperative point of construction to where it's like setting the roof on the house. Once you do that, you can really go crazy. And back to the example that we looked at in lamination is testing things before you actually apply them. Well, here's an example, and this is not staged because at 7:51 this morning, that's when they did it.
Okay.
You were just pulling in the parking lot, weren't you?
Right.
So that tells me, and that assures us, that this material that's going to bond this Everglades boat is right on.
And from here?
Let's go to the front of the line where they're setting consoles. We currently have 7 different lines. You want to go on the biggest boat? Let's go to the big boat.
Let's go there.
Let's go. Marilyn, this comes to the final stages of the process that we do here. This current model is our 455, and some of the things that you see, or again, more important that you don't see, are now complete. So all of the effort, all of the labor, all of the design has now come to fruition. It's all right here for the customer, again, to get those life expectancies that they see.
So we see the transom plate is covered with big power attached to it safely. You've got the cover that goes over the groove, the notch that you showed us, and a lot of the other stainless details like your logo, the trim here that you've done. We see the rod holders.
Right.
It's all come together.
It's all right there, right.
And now from here, you ocean test all of these?
Yes, I personally run every 455 and 395 as long as the sea conditions warrant it. And a lot of times I don't like the sea condition to warrant it. I go anyways because it's an Everglades. So,
because you can.
Because I can. And then I will physically go to the boat, wherever that would be in North America at this point, and deliver the boat into the orientation for 4 or 5 days. So it's all part of that customer's expectations and the satisfaction that they bought an Everglades in the right product.
And so before it goes in the ocean, it goes in the pool here too,
Everybody
right?
goes in the pool. This one here, I'm running out of room for the pool, but I can get it in there a little bit, but everyone goes in the pool before the boat leaves here. So we want to experience any non-conformity before anybody gets it. So
get it out on the open water and see what it can do.
Let's just go to R&D real quick and go look at what we're trying to introduce, and at the end I want you to meet Dave Brown, our Vice President of Product Development and Engineering.
Excellent.
Cool.
Let's go. So this doesn't exactly look like R&D. It's not a laboratory, but this is real world.
That's correct. The good thing about that is, or the answer to that would be, is we are ahead of where we were and what took us so long to get to a true part. A part that you can work with, a part that's you can see and feel and touch and see if all that hard work is actually a success. So this is our new model that we're going to be releasing in the fall. We have the hull right next to it. So all of the design, the engineering, we partner with production. We want them to come with us in engineering and help us build the product, look for opportunities for efficiency, does the part work, get their perception of them, because once we start to release this, they're going to build a boat. So we'd rather keep the shock mode, or, you know, here you go, build it and figure it out. We don't do that. We get them involved, even from the beginning in design, in the buildings, in the assembly building that we were there, and ask them what would be better for you to build. So the input is impeccable.
So it comes from the ground up, all the input that goes into a new model before it ever goes into production.
Correct. Once you build a mold, that's where your money is, right? So you better be right on the money before you build a mold. And unfortunately, I don't have the wooden plug, and I don't have the ergonomics and all that I used to have, because we're this far away. So we are in great shape for releasing it in the fall, and we look forward to a successful model.
Well, we're going to look forward to seeing that one too, so keep us in the loop. So we just spent a lot of time in the West facility showing how Everglades boats are built. Now we traveled to the East facility to see the real chemistry behind the ram cap construction. And we see that's really what's happening here, Stan, right? It's a chemical mixture in molds and quite a sophisticated process.
You are sitting in a designated building just for ram cap. The ram cap is the bullseye of the dartboard. This is what separates us, and this is where it starts, right? So there's over 55 molds of the geometry of every part, every draft, every dead rise, every transom angle. They're all different, hence 55 plus molds here. Behind you is a 395, and I can just show you just in relationship. There's a piece of aluminum that we apply to it. Fuel tanks go in there, swim platform brackets go in there. All of that stuff, again, you don't see on an Everglades, but we do. So the density is unbelievable. You can see how much it takes, not alone the investment, which was our own design, our own weld shop, to make these things. In this particular example, it's a 285. It takes 4 of these molds, which are very expensive to make, but back to when we were at R&D, making sure it's right before you start pulling triggers. This is one of the many things that you have to make sure is right.
And these are very robust machines. Now I understand you apply 1600 to 1800 PSI.
It wants to come out of there, right. Just like a pressure cooker, we won't allow it to expand. So if I took one of these parts and let it just expand, it would be 3 times the amount of the expansion. And that's all because of little air voids and core. We don't allow that to happen. That is our DNA.
So you compress it for 24 hours at a cool temperature, so it's controlled for the entire time.
Then we take it out, like the flanges we see, they'll sand it real good, score it. Why? Because we're going to apply laminate to it, so you gotta scuff it, and then we put them in the hulls, which you've seen over there a little while ago. So it's pretty cool, isn't it?
It just shows more about the stability and how solid every Everglades is. So now also in this facility, you do small parts, and you also have an interesting approach to your electric.
We do. We're really proud of that. You want to go see it?
We'd love to go see that
next. Let's
go. Well, Stan, having seen how the Everglades ram cap foam construction is done, now we get a sense of how much electrical power goes into each boat.
It's something else. Did you wipe your feet before you came in? Because it's like a hospital, right? We are very proud of this. Again, using the highest priority, which would be the safety aspect of our boat, right? The ram cap, the core, the solid ride, all that, that would be item number 1. Item number 2 is where we're standing right here in the electrical area. They're ABYC certified technicians. They go through a very stringent quality check. And as you can see from to the left or to the right, how they even do this sometimes amazes me, right? But they get it right, and they get it right every time. They validate it, they test it, and then they send it over to the West facility where we were. So it's an amazing job, and the task that they do is commendable. So
we see how each harness is created with all the wires that could possibly be used in a boat, and then it's tested, and then it's enclosed in pipes, so then it's ready for installation.
So we'll torque it, we'll seal it, we'll mark it. The employee signs off that he or she did the right thing, and then send it over. So we try to put every wire possible in terms of an option in our harnesses. So if by chance you didn't order the little docking lights, and then you wanted to add them later on, the wire's already there for you. So we spent the money. It's not worth trying to go back and forth with wires. We give you the whole harness complete, so you're getting a little more for your money.
A lot of power right here as well as in the engines.
Yep.
So in everything tied together at Everglades really comes back to your core values of teamwork and communication and everybody being responsible.
They are
for
being accountable.
everything.
They are signing off on it. They are proud of what they do. And again, when I was in the quality department 7 years ago, which I'm now in sales and marketing, I can really truly say that we have 300 auditors now. We don't have 5 like it was because they all know their job in terms of what is acceptable and what isn't.
And you see it through from start to finish.
Absolutely.
A great process. Hey, David, great to see you.
Hey, great having you here today.
It was a fabulous factory tour, and we're really amazed at how you bring all the innovation and construction together.
Well, thanks. This is a wonderful place to tour through. We are here in product development and engineering. You know, you've seen the product out in the plant. This is where it all begins. So we are a vertically integrated company in our design, which means we have a naval architect, a structural engineer, designers, electrical, mechanical people that all the team members, you know, do all of the design from the keel up all the way through finish validation. And we do that with talking to our dealers and our customers to make sure that we're constantly driving innovation into the product while meeting the DNA of our product, which is seat keeping, ram cap, and all the other great features that make an Everglades boat. We're very happy you were able to come here today. We're very proud to be part of this brand. It's just unbelievable, and I can't say enough about the people that build our product, design our product, and are part of delivering something absolutely fantastic to our customers. So thank you today.
And that's why Everglades is built for beyond. Thanks for joining us on Factory Fridays.
This is Factory Fridays from boats.com. Follow boats.com on YouTube and Instagram to stay tuned for the next episode. Visit boats.com for more videos and boat-related content. Boats.com. Everything boats.